We are very honored to welcome Dr. Victor Gao on our program. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Gao. So we'll start with Middle East.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much. The situation in Middle East is very grim. We can see it deteriorating. Israel has targeted Hamas leadership in Qatar. This is not the first time Israel has done such aggression. Earlier on, they attacked Iran as well. How do you analyze the situation?
First of all, what's happening in the Middle East, especially in Gaza, is really very disturbing. I would say atrocities have been committed, crimes against humanity have been committed in Gaza against the innocent Palestinian people. Elsewhere, I think the bombing against Iran is an unprovoked war, and it really throws the situation off balance in the Middle East. Now there are more and more aggressive actions committed by Israel against several other countries in the region. This is truly very disturbing. It seems that Israel now runs around or even run amok in trying to impose its will on other countries and other people. And this should not be tolerated. I think it is time for mankind to rise up to the occasion and demand justice to be done and put a stop to acts of aggression or acts of war committed by one country against so many other countries in the region.
You said it's time for humankind to get up, indeed, because we are seeing one violation after another from Israel. We've seen attacks on innocent children. We've seen attacks on women. We've seen attacks on hospitals. And now we see an attack on a place which was trying to establish a ceasefire. Could China play a role in this whole situation?
First of all, China has always been doing the right thing, not only against Israel as far as its acts of aggression are concerned, but also more importantly at the United Nations General Assembly and in particular at the United Nations Security Council, calling for justice to be done and strongly advocate for the two-state solution and advocating and protecting the sovereignty and the territorial integrity of the people of Palestine. I think China will continue to do this, and China has been exposing all the dark side of the Israeli activities against the Palestinian people in Gaza in particular, but more recently against other countries and other people. I think China will always stand ready to protect the legitimate interests of the people in Palestine, as well as the legitimate interest of all the other countries in the Arab world and in the Middle East and throughout the world. And I think China's track record against the illegal activities of Israel are well recorded for everyone to look at.
Right. And now we'll come to some other issues. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting was held in China. How would you evaluate the message given to the world? How can you evaluate that?
Well, I think the SCO summit held in Tianjin in China was a great success. And the voices expressed and the joint communique issued at the end of the SCO summit was exactly what the world needs right now. Because in the world, you have a lot of headwind caused by one single country in manhandling the rest of the world and try to dominate above other countries by issuing ultimatum or even, as I said, holding a gun at so many other countries' heads. But SCO declares that it wants to promote multilateralism, multipolarity, and it wants to treat everyone within SCO as equal on a consensus basis, meaning every country, every member state of the SCO has a veto power if they do not like the proposed decisions to be made. And that actually is very much needed in the world of today, regardless of the size of the countries involved. Every country should be equal in terms of major decision-making as well as in terms of implementing anything which have a direct bearing on their sovereignty and territorial integrity. So I think the SCO is a great success. I saw the Prime Minister of Pakistan was very much involved in all the proceedings. And the fact that he even delivered a speech at, I think, Tianjin University was really very much endearing to the Chinese nations, because they had a chance to really listen to His Excellency, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, to talk about many issues of interest to the Chinese people. And I think eventually the Prime Minister of Pakistan also made it to Beijing to attend the September the 3rd victory parade is also very important, because
I was going to come to that, if you allow me, because the military parade, as you've said, was also held in China, and I guess you were present there. Some people perceive that it's a clear message from China to the world that now the power is shifting. China is an equal global power at par with the United States. I'm sure you must have followed this analysis. Was this the message given, though?
If we are talking about the victory parade in particular, immediately after the conclusion of the SCO summit, allow me to share with you my observation. I think the victory parade on September the 3rd will be judged by history as a major turning point in human history, because I think China has eloquently demonstrated to the satisfaction of every observer in the world that China has enough and very lethal military powers, both conventional weapons as well as nuclear weapons, and involving drones of all kinds, military robots of all kinds, and the ability to synthesize and integrate different dimensions, which I call the space, the sky, that is the Air Force, the ground force, that's the Army, and the surface water, that is the Navy, as well as the submarine, and aided and enabled by data technology, information technology, as well as AI. And I think China is right now really in the cutting edge. China leads the world rather than following any other country. That message is very clear. China now is very confident that there is no other country and no group of countries in the world which want to impose any war on China, nuclear or conventional. And China has the full confidence to defeat any enemy from abroad who wants to impose a war on China. Now, this is in addition to the spectacular economic achievements and transformation China has been making over the past 46 or 47 years already. By now, China is already the largest economy in the world by purchasing power parity. And even though in terms of the official exchange rate, the size of the Chinese economy is next to the United States, but President Trump has been demanding that Fed need to lower the federal rates, for example, by 2 percentage points or even 3 percentage points. The general expectation is that once the Fed starts to lower the rate, the exchange rate of the dollar versus other major currencies in the world, especially against the renminbi, will need to depreciate. That means if we really look at a more normalized exchange rate between renminbi versus the US dollar, the difference in terms of the size of the Chinese economy versus the US economy is actually narrowing very quickly. And I would say in a matter of 5 years or so, by using the official exchange rate, the Chinese economy will be larger than that of the United States. And if you listen to Elon Musk, he keeps saying that by the middle of this century, the size of the Chinese economy will be double the size of the US economy. I think we are heading in that direction, where if you look at the economic performance, China is definitely outpacing the United States in terms of manufacturing output, production of iron and steel, shipbuilding, you name it. China has a long list of about 300 major items. And now, in terms of the real military strength, in terms of the conventional weapons as well as nuclear weapons, China is next to none. China now possesses quite some very sophisticated weapons that the United States doesn't even have an inkling of an idea as to what these sophisticated weapons are all about. And I think it is time for the United States to come to the conclusion that they should never indulge in the fantasy that they may impose a war on China. Those days are gone forever, and the victory parade will be, in my best judgment, judged by history as a major turning point. Now, China is the most effective defender of peace for China itself, as well as defender for peace for mankind.
Right.